Welcome back to Distorted Opinions. I'm Kayla, and this week I am joined by Keisha, and we were just about to get into a little story. If you watched the episode where we talked about MTV's 40th anniversary, you may recall that we were talking about they're calling it the Moon Person now, but in our day it was the Moon Man. And I had found at GameStop that they had a Funko Pop rainbow metallic Moon Man thing that I had ordered for Keisha as a thank you for being on that episode with me.
Yes.
And some events have transpired since I ordered this thing. And I texted Keisha. Yeah, well, yes. I ordered it on August 3rd, which was most likely the day that we recorded that episode, because I think I ordered it on the spot while we were still talking about it. I was like, all right, you know what? Ordering it. Here you go. It's ordered, and it was a pre-order, so I knew going to be a bit of a delay. However, this thing shipped back in September, I believe, and it's been sitting in Farmington, New York for a little, today will be a month, actually, I believe, that it's been sitting in Farmington, New York. So over the weekend, I went to check the order status at GameStop, and they had on the tracking the estimated delivery, and this is great because, all right, well, let me complete the story and then I'll tell you what it's showing me now, because I feel like if I tell you that, then I got to go backwards to explain. So, stuck in Farmington. Okay, I get it. Shipping time's a bit delayed right now. There are delays.
Well, now, again, we ordered this in August.
True. But it was a pre-order, so I knew there was going to be a bit of a delay there.
Yeah.
But it shipped at beginning of September, and then it got to Farmington, New York, and it's been sitting there, supposedly on a FedEx truck out for delivery with a delivery exception, and it says it can't tell me the new updated estimated delivery date. So I came over to the GameStop site to see if they had a different tracking number. Maybe I got the wrong number or something. Maybe there's something going on that they've updated there. And it's showing me at that point that there's still a week left for them to deliver this thing. And I'm like, oh, no. Okay, this thing's been sitting in Farmington for a month now. I'm not buying this. There's still a week left on the delivery. So I opened up. They have a thing you can dispute, or not dispute, but you can file for a missing or damaged package. And so I filled that out, and I said, it shows that it's been sitting in Farmington for a month now. I'm trying to be reasonable because I know that shipping times are delayed. I don't want to be that person that's like, oh, it shipped 3 days ago and it's not here. I get that that's not necessarily going to happen.
You're reasonable. You're a reasonable
person. At this point in life. And so, but I'm like, it's been a month and it hasn't moved and there's been no update. Can you tell me, is this thing lost? Can you look into it? So then I think it was Tuesday, I texted you because I came to see, because I hadn't heard anything back and I was just looking to see if there was an update on the website or anything. And now it shows it as being returned. And I'm like, returned? I didn't return it, and it's still sitting in Farmington. So I kind of hovered over the thing, and it says your order has been returned for a refund or replacement. So I'm like, okay, hopefully they're sending the replacement, because I didn't necessarily want a refund unless there are no more and I can't get another one, and then give me my money back.
Unless you deserve this refund.
Right. So I'm like, okay. So I decided I would send them an email at their support email address, just being like, hey, the package was sitting there, hadn't moved. I filed a request, to figure out what had happened here. Now it's saying it's returned. Can you tell me, am I getting another one, or is it am I being refunded? What's the deal here? Still no response. However, today I got a new tracking number from GameStop, which presumably means they've shipped a new one. However, it's coming from a totally different location than the first one came from. The first one came from Kentucky and then got stuck in Farmington, New York. This one's coming from Texas, and who knows where it's going to go. before it potentially gets lost somewhere else on its way to me. They're saying it's going to be here Saturday. So with any luck, I will have a Funko Pop Moon person for you at some point on Saturday. However, the part that I wanted to wait until I explain the rest of that for is that I still have the tracking up for the one that's in limbo.
Yep.
And every day, the estimated delivery day keeps getting pushed out. So like where I had looked on Saturday or whatever, Friday, and it had said that it had another week from Wednesday. Now it's showing me Friday. Like now it's moved out 2 more days. It hasn't moved. It says awaiting carrier pickup. And the other thing that made me nervous, the tracking number, it says it's tracking UPS, but it's clearly a FedEx number.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm like, do you guys even know where this thing is? Because you don't even have the carrier right. So,
oh my gosh.
Hopefully this weekend, the moon person will actually arrive and I will have a moon person to present to you for helping me out with that show that we did like 2 months ago now. I'm just...
Craziness.
Shipping right now is just insane.
It's a mess. It's a hot mess. It's a hot mess. I mean,
go ahead.
I was watching, they have so many specials now about like the great like shipping distribution challenges and the supply chain being disrupted and supply and demand being so aggressive. All I can think about is like these poor people who are still working. Like I feel for them so much. I feel for them so much. How do they get through their day?
So a little bit off topic, but you know, kind of on the same lines. I was a little bit annoyed last night. So I follow on Facebook a guy by the name of Tim Cotton, and I found out about him through Mike Rowe, who was the host of Dirty Jobs. He's gone on to do a bunch of other stuff. Fun fact, if you didn't know, Mike Rowe is also he's an opera singer. He used to sing opera in Maryland, and when he was in college, and if you've ever watched Dirty Jobs, sometimes he does sing in Dirty Jobs, and he also on his own Facebook, like a few years ago, he did You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch. Somebody requested that he do that, and it was pretty hilarious. And he's got a little dog, Freddie, who looks kind of like the dog from the Grinch. But anyway, so I discovered this guy, Tim Cotton, because Mike Rowe posted about the Bangor, Maine Police Department's Facebook page, because they've got this guy, Tim Cotton, who's a lieutenant in the police department. He writes all of the posts for their social media, and they're well written and very funny. And so Tim Cotton has written a couple of books now, and I got one of them. Oh geez, why can I not think of it? I want to say, Detective in the Dooryard, which was all stories about his years of being a detective. And he just released another one, which I pre-ordered in April, called Got Warrants. And Got Warrants is basically like the police logs, but the way he writes them is really humorous. I'm sure there's other stories in there too. But if you pre-ordered it it's a small bookstore up in Maine. If you pre-ordered it, you get a signed copy of it with the pre-order. And so he posted a picture a few weeks ago that he signed like, I don't know, 700 copies of the book or something to go out. And there are people that are over on his Facebook page. They're like, I pre-ordered the book in April. Why haven't I received it yet? And they're like tearing this small bookshop a new one for the fact that nobody's responding to their emails and they don't know where their book is, and they've seen that other people are getting it. And I'm very disappointed in this bookstore. It's like, and Tim even said, the owner is one person. He's doing all this stuff by himself. Like, exercise a bit of patience in the postal system right now as things are just very slow. And I just couldn't get over people that are like, they're ripping this small business owner a new one over the fact that their book's not here yesterday. And it's like, have you not been aware of what's been going on for the last year? Things don't happen in the way that they used to. It just doesn't work that way anymore, which is, again, why I exercise patience when I saw that things got a bit delayed. I mean, I've ordered a couple of guitar straps, and if Jack from Jacketto Picks is listening to this, Jack has heard this. Shout out to Jack. who is also apparently Jack's going to be starting a podcast shortly as well, where he's going to be interviewing artists and talking about the music industry. And I'm really looking forward to that. I'm glad he's deciding to do that. I'm pretty excited about that.
Hey, but, congratulations. Woo woo.
Yes. Yeah. So stay tuned. If you're not following Jack, be sure to follow Jacketto Pics over on Instagram and Facebook.
Those beautiful pieces. Oh man. Breathtaking.
I got like stacks and stacks. I showed up to, so we had a jam session at this point a few weeks ago, and I showed up with all of the pics that I've bought. If you're watching the video version, I got these 2 little bags because Jack ships the pics in these nice little Jacketto Pics drawstring bags.
And purses, man.
I like dumped out
pic purses.
That's the sound of a bunch, like half of the pics. I dumped them all out on the couch, and I think it was Justin at one point that was like, gee, it's almost as if you know somebody who makes pics. And I'm like, yes, I do actually. But I had all like these
gems. Do you have like these little like pic gems in a little coin purse? It's so precious.
I got like 30 some odd pics at this point, and I've got more on order that have not shipped yet. So yes, shout out to Jack.
Shout out to Jack for those some of the most awesome pieces of work
that I own. They're great pieces of art, and they also play really nice and they sound awesome. But yeah, so Jack has already heard the story about, I ordered a couple guitar straps from another small company called Mother Mary. And I don't have any of them on the guitars that are behind me if you're watching the video version, but they seem to get stuck at the same hub in Missouri every time.
Still in New York?
No, and it's the postal system this time. In New York, it was FedEx. This is the postal system, but it's like they ship, and then the next day they get to this hub in Missouri, and they just don't move for 3 weeks. I've literally had the pics that Jack has sent me come from Australia, so that's not super fast either, because they're coming from another country, and usually the holdup there is that apparently, I would need to ask Jack, but the last time I talked to him, COVID was hitting pretty hard where he is again. And so postal service in Australia was kind of backlogged a bit because of that. So you have to wait for it to go through their postal service. Then it has to get onto a plane whenever the next plane takes off with them. And then it's got to hit our postal service, and then whatever delays happen there. I've had times, twice now actually, I managed to end up having Jack sending me a shipment of pics around the same time that I've ordered a guitar strap from this other company. And Jack's pics almost make it here before the guitar strap that shipped like 3 weeks earlier from the US. Which is messed up.
It really is.
I mean, it's worth it, and that is no blame on the business, because
yes, we understand that there's some tough times out there. We get that, but you have to at least address this is a little concerning when we can get something from
another country
across the globe, legit.
Halfway, yeah.
A little bit more expedient than something within our own country. Yes, that is concerning.
Yes. I mean, it at least makes progress, whereas I checked the shipping on the strap and it's like, oh, nope, it's still sitting at that hub in Missouri. Wow, and then I go online and I look, and sure enough, other people have had packages get stuck in that same place. And it's like, is there one employee working at this hub?
There's clearly something happening in this facility. Please send help. This person has an SOS. Like, help them out, please.
I mean, I had Girl Scout cookies that I ordered online last year get stuck at the same hub for like 3 weeks. I was like, is somebody eating my Girl Scout cookies? Because they're not here, and they've been sitting there for 3 weeks now. Like, are they gonna be moldy? Are my Thin Mints gonna be melted by the time they get here?
They're gonna last forever. Those cookies.
They were fine when they arrived, but I was just like, where are my cookies? Where are they? I should have found a Girl Scout and just bought them around here. But
I know
it was
they were out, but they had a limited supply, and I saw.
Yeah,
you know what? Even the Girl Scout cookies had inflation. There's so much happening.
Oh my God! Yeah, they've. I remember when they were like $3 for a box of Thin Mints.
They were like $2.50 a box.
Okay, $2.50. Now they're $6 a box, I believe. Yeah. Anyway, show's not about Girl Scout cookies, but I'm just saying I've had Girl Scout cookies get stuck at that same hub that my guitar straps have gotten stuck at. And it's like, what is the deal here? They get here eventually, but it takes them a while. They just sit there and eventually they move. So yeah, no issue with the business, because that's not like, that's out of their control, but it's just like, why does it get stuck here? So anyway, I don't quite remember how we got on the topic of my guitar strap getting stuck over there. Oh, the Moon Man thing.
The Moon Man. The Moon Man has been, you know, impacted by the distribution. We have been impacted by the distribution. We are disturbed by this distribution, and we have opinions about it. So that's how we kind of
should have sent the Moon Man up in that rocket with William Shatner. It might have gotten here.
Oh my gosh, you're right. You know what's funny is like I got emotional watching him get emotional, because like, if you, in the context of this 90-year-old man who had a profound career playing somebody in space, like we all know Captain Kirk, like to have him have that visceral reaction, it meant something to me. And I was like, oh, this man has been given a gift by Jeff Bezos, of all people, who has had very little disturbances on the distribution front because he does everything. Right. Gave him a very special gift. I'm like, oh, that's just precious. William Shatner making it.
But yes, he could have taken the Moon Man up and dropped it off of that ship, and it probably would have gotten here quicker. Then
probably just, you know, have it chill on the moon. At least if it's gonna be like backed up, have it be backed up in orbit.
That's right.
Seems like a reasonable place to be backed up. No, it makes sense.
I can only imagine what that would have cost to send the Moon Man up in a ship and then bring it back down.
And bring it back. Oh man. And like, how do you sell that? How do you sell that on like eBay or Etsy? How do you prove that it's like this Moon Man has been in space?
News stories.
Yeah.
If you send it up with William Shatner, there's cameras around, so you got that going for you. But
that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Oh man,
goodness.
They did it all wrong. That's what they should have done with all of these Moon Men. They should have like put them in orbit before. Yeah, before they handed them out to all the celebrities who should have.
It would have cost a lot more money than. And you're talking like the Moon Man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I thought we were talking the Funko Pop. I was talking the Funko Pop would have gotten here a lot faster if they'd sent it into orbit and just dropped it out of the capsule over my house, you know?
Yeah.
Ay. But no, yeah, they'd be far more interesting if they gave it to the artists and it had gone into outer space first. Actual Moon Man statue.
For sure. Yeah. Bump the money.
Yeah, right. But on a slightly different note, so I feel like this is going to seem redundant because I feel like we kind of keep coming back to this, but it also seems like we could do this over and over again.
I'm ready.
The music in unexpected places, social media and whatnot. So I noticed recently on Sirius, they've actually got a station. I don't know if you can get it in the car. I think it's just the app. TikTok Radio.
No, they don't.
Oh, yes. Do you have Sirius?
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now.
Yeah, I opened up the app because right now they've also got mandatory Metallica in celebration of the Black Album. And I happened to notice that they had a station that was TikTok Radio, and I haven't listened to it yet, but I'm like, really? They've got a station dedicated to that? But then the more, like, I've found myself sitting on TikTok quite a bit recently and actually discovering a lot of new artists and new music through it because there's a lot of people.
What is?
Oh, it is on a channel that's on the radio.
It's TikTok on Channel 4.
Okay. I might have to check it out. I'm curious. I'm curious as to what they've got on there because I've definitely found that I've discovered a lot of new music through either stuff that people are using in their videos or there's actual artists that are like, there's a guy, I'm probably going to mispronounce. I don't know if his username is Sick Kick. Okay. SICKICK. and the guy wears a mask, like a bejeweled kind of thing, and he's always in a hoodie, and he does all these different remixes, and apparently he also does sing as well, because I've seen some of his videos where he's singing, but most of his stuff, it's remixes, and the dude has like several million followers.
Wow.
Apparently pretty well known in the world of social media, and I found myself like kind of branching a little bit away from TikTok. Spotify, we've talked about this a little bit too,
yes.
and like SoundHound and eclectic playlists. And so I ended up kind of finding that SoundHound, because when you finish a playlist, or if you finish listening to a song, they keep playing recommended music that's similar.
Recommend music, yes.
And I've got some playlists going right now on Spotify that are pretty much just like, they're artists that I don't think are necessarily hugely well known. And I kind of wish Matt were here, because I know Matt likes to go on and on about A&R reps and how much he hates A&R reps, and he thinks they're ruining the music industry, and they're in it for the money, not for the music, and music is crap now.
Yeah.
Yes. On the one hand, I wish he was here because I feel like he'd have some interesting opinions on this. On the other hand, I also know that he'd probably go on a huge tirade about A&R reps if he were here.
Hi, Matt.
Hi, Matt. We're going to have this conversation without you, but we can always revisit it at some point.
We'll see you in the comments.
Oh yeah, no, I'm sure there'll be text messages and comments when he sees this episode.
Yes.
But I'm like, a lot of the artists that get suggested to me, I listen to like one song that's something that's maybe something that I heard on TikTok or something. So actually, all right, here's an example. So this guy I discovered through TikTok. I don't remember what his username is, but his name is Christian Locke. And guy plays guitar. He just put out a song called Atom Bomb, and I was listening to it, and I'm like, this is a pretty cool track. So added it to my playlist. Next thing I know, I'm getting suggestions for all these other songs. I'm like, oh, this is a really cool song. I'm going to add this to my list. But looking at these artists, and I'm not the end all be all of like who's well known and who's made the big time, but I'd be willing to bet you that a lot of these artists are probably self-producing and distributing their own music, which I find to be really interesting, because I can guarantee you that most of this stuff is not stuff that I would hear on the radio, because they're not mainstream. They don't have a big label backing them. And I can't really tell you the last time I heard a song from a mainstream artist that I was like, oh, this is really awesome. Like, I don't listen to a lot of... And also, there's just not, unless you listen to a lot of serious local radio stations, there's not a lot of new
music
artists.
Yeah.
that was actually one of the things I struggled with a lot when AAF went off the air, because, well, they weren't necessarily playing a ton of new stuff. They were still playing newer stuff, whereas most of the other rock stations in this area are very much what I would call classic rock, or they're playing classic rock and early 2000s era rock, which
that's
I guess
fair. That's fair to say. Yes.
Is maybe considered classic rock, unfortunately, to the newer ages. To me, classic rock is still like Boston, Ozzy, Aerosmith, like the stuff that my dad would have listened to. I still consider that classic rock, and I love that stuff. But now, unfortunately, I feel like the stuff that we grew up on is now the classic rock. We've hit that
classic.
era.
All of it's classic.
So, classic rock stations are now playing the stuff we listen to and older. So,
that we
not a lot
music.
of new stuff. Yes, exactly. So, I don't know. I find it interesting because there's not a lot of new stuff in this area. So again, unless you're listening to your music online or listening to your music on satellite radio, I feel like you're not hearing a lot of new artists. You're hearing a lot of the same stuff over and over and over again. And it's really kind of unfortunate, but it's also really interesting to see how a lot of these artists today, I don't think are like, they don't have a big label necessarily backing them. They're doing all this stuff on their own. They're promoting through Spotify and YouTube and other platforms. And I really like the stuff that Spotify has been suggesting to me based off of like a couple of songs that I listen to that I find somewhere, and I'm like, this is good. And then they're like, oh, well, you might like this. And they start playing a whole bunch of other songs, and I find myself right clicking the song and adding it to another playlist because I'm like, this is pretty good. And I don't want to talk too much about this one because it's going to go a little bit into my song of the week, but
okay.
Jack, again, from Jacketto Picks. And I think I may have sent Jack a message and told him about this recently, but he posted a video on either TikTok or Instagram recently for one of his picks. And he had some music in the background from an artist who's, I think, actually one of his artists, his endorsed artists. Mm-hmm. And hopefully I pronounced the name of this band correctly. Foi, F-O-I. He had a song called The Pilgrim by Foi playing in the background. And I was like, I like this. This is cool. I'm going to go see if this is on Spotify. And sure enough, it was. And so I listened to that. And then I start listening to some more of the stuff by Foi. And next thing I know, I've got a bunch of their songs in my playlist. And then that ends and it starts playing a bunch of other songs that are like that. And now I've got a whole playlist of just like cool instrumental guitar stuff that's Joe Satriani, Steve Vai, Dave Martone-esque. Very cool stuff.
That's cool.
A lot of groups I would have never heard of. Like Foi, I believe the guitarist from Foi, I think he's actually from India. I think he's based in India. So I feel like I've also discovered a lot of music from regions that I wouldn't have necessarily found music in through social media as well, which is kind of interesting. So, I mean, like, TikTok is a weird place. There's definitely some strange stuff on there.
Nice way to put it. It is. We are in a galaxy far, far away when we get into TikTok. Like, this is a different atmosphere. There is different energy on TikTok. There is some of everything.
Yes.
There's a lot happening. So it's really interesting to hear that. Well, like, because music, I mean, TikTok started out as like Musical.ly, right? Like it was that app where you would have songs and kind of do either like dances or kind of make your own like little mini 2-minute music video. That's what was really cool about Musical.ly. And then I think it became TikTok. Okay. Don't come for me in the comments, children, if I got that wrong. I apologize. It just shows that I'm not on this platform. I don't deserve any negativity. We're just trying to get a sense of why music is really integral to TikTok.
Sure.
And I think that was it, because there were a couple of really slick videos that I watched early on when it was Musical.ly, it was called Musical.ly, that I thought were fire, because the creativity that it's bringing out of, I think those who are using it, I find one part of it's entertaining, and a lot of it is you have to, maybe this is their relationship with music, because I honestly, I can't remember the last time I saw like students learning music in high school. Now it's gone a different like art and stuff like that, expression. This is their outlet for that, because I can't remember anyone that's like, yeah, I'm like playing the saxophone or I'm doing this. I know they exist. I know they're out there. You guys are cool. But at least in our area, it's hard to find.
Sure. Yeah, no, I didn't know that about TikTok, actually. I mean, I know when I originally started seeing videos coming from TikTok, it seemed like it was largely people doing dance videos. There's a ton of music stuff. In fact, I just opened it to look for a few of the musicians that I've discovered through there. And on the For You page, when you first sign on, there's the first thing that popped up is this user. I haven't looked at any of her other stuff, but it's Carla Wehbe, Carlawehbe, and she's apparently a singer, and the write-up that she has with this video says, fun fact, Arabic scales use quarter tones, not just whole and semitones like Western scales. And she's singing, I assume, I didn't listen to much of it because I didn't want to have that playing while I was trying to listen to you, but I assume she's singing something that's Middle Eastern, which is pretty cool. So I might come back and watch this after, but like there's a lot of vocalists on here. There's a guy, what's his, I want to say it's like Justin Vibes or something. Yes, Justin Vibes. This guy plays the vibraphone, and so it's like all videos of him playing different well-known songs on the vibraphone, which is really cool. Super fun videos. I'm like seeing some of these.
I like that you're like lighting up. For those of you who are listening, Kayla is quite intrigued about the possibilities of hearing some really interesting tunes on TikTok. And it's like, this is the blessing and the curse with like social media stuff, is that there is an avenue to explore the new, but there is so much happening that it's so hard to like filter through to find it. But that's really cool. That like, well,
apparently
it's suggesting it now. It's like, oh, we know.
I was gonna say
know this chick likes. We know her number.
Because I went back to the homepage, and now the first thing there is this guy Sammy Bowler, SammyBoller, wrote this melody tonight. He's playing guitar. Something cool. Again, only heard the first few seconds of it because I didn't want to have that like drowning out what you were saying. But the guy's got a Les Paul. He's playing something that sounded really cool from what little bit I heard. Click the follow button, and I'm gonna check that out after. Below that is a guy playing piano. Some more singing below that. So, I mean, yeah, apparently it suggests to you based, kind of like Spotify, it suggests based on other videos that you've watched previously. So
these algorithms, man, they know us better than like my loved ones. I don't understand, but it's really cool. It's really, really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I've been finding some interesting stuff on social media. And like I said, I know we've kind of beat the horse to death here with this because we've talked about this on a few shows, but it's just like
we've only scratched the surface.
I know. I feel like we could talk
because
about
there's so
this
many. Apparently, there's
times.
more unexpected places. Like I would have never. Well, like I guess I didn't make that like connection of it really being an avenue for like music, new music, and that level of creativity. But it makes total sense when we're talking about the platforms that artists are using to try to get their work out there. And I think that's beautiful. I think that's really outstanding. It's just TikTok scares me because there's like, if you don't know me, like I got off the Facebook wagon like back in 2009. So hearing this is really interesting. But it's so encouraging to know that like some of them are using it for forces of good for stuff like that. That's so cool.
There's certainly like a whole, like, how did we get on this side of TikTok series of stuff that's like, how did I end up here? And there's a lot of stuff on there that's like, okay,
it's goofy. Actually, it's meant to be like just pure entertainment.
Not music related, but this guy's on Instagram as well, and I don't know how you pronounce his username, but I think it's Khaby Lame. I don't think it's Khaby Lame, but that's what it's spelled, like KhabyLame. And I think there's actually a little bit more to his username than that, so let me look it up. But I could be relatively sure that if you've spent any time on TikTok, you've probably seen this guy's videos. Yeah, Khaby, KhabyLame. Okay. And the guy literally, all he does is take video clips of people doing stupid stuff on Instagram or TikTok or wherever. Like there's one with this girl, she's got her hair braided and her braids are sticking out the window of the car and she's rolling up the window and her braids are stuck and somebody comes along, cuts them out. And this guy, he does the same thing. He's got a wig on and he rolls up the window and then he's just like, rolls the window back down again, rolls it up, rolls it back down again. And then the guy never says anything in his videos. He just goes after he shows like how they should have done it to show how stupid people are being.
Yeah.
And that's what he's doing. He's taking the stupid side of TikTok and he's making fun of it and showing how stupid people are at the same time. But there's a lot of stuff that's like, why is this here? Like, why is this even a thing? There's a lot of viral trends that are stupid. Let's not spend a whole lot of time talking about the stupid Tide Pod challenge that was going on a while back.
You know, putting children in the hospitals. Oh my goodness.
But that's the stupid side
that's
of
the destructive
TikTok.
Side. That's the destructive side of this whole thing.
Then there's the side that's like, you got people playing music, you got people creating music, or there's even like, you watch some videos that maybe aren't music related, but they're using that music in the video, and then you can tap on the song and you can see where that song came from, and there's more videos with that song, and it can be a rabbit hole sometimes, because you start watching something, then next thing you know, you're like watching another video with this other artist and they're doing something.
And
but
then it's been 5 hours.
Right, exactly. But it's really, I've discovered some cool artists and some cool music through there that I maybe wouldn't have otherwise discovered. Kind of like, I know Ted has talked on previous shows about how he often discovers new music because he watches a lot of music videos on YouTube, and YouTube does the same thing. They recommend like, hey, you liked this video, maybe you want to check out these videos. And so he's discovered a lot of new music through watching music videos on YouTube. And again, it kind of goes back
too,
to,
right? Like,
yeah. Actually, that's Ted was the one who introduced me to both Ray Bites, who Ray's played drums. He hasn't done a whole lot of streaming recently, but he was during the pandemic. He was doing a drum stream like at least once a week, sometimes multiple nights a week. And, why can't I remember the other guy's name that played the video game songs? He used to do the metal covers.
Yes.
I've mentioned him on other shows,
Ted.
and now all of a
sudden, hi, Matt. Hi, Ted.
Hi, Ted. Because I do know Ted and I talked about this, that neither one of us really. Well, actually, I think he was saying that one of our episodes popped up when he got into his car and his phone linked up to his car. One of the episodes that we had done previously popped up, and he hadn't listened to it in a while, so he listened to it. I don't normally listen to the shows once they drop because I was part of them and then I had to edit them for hours on end, and so I don't watch them again. But where there have been a few shows that we've done together that Matt and Ted haven't been on, I was like, well, definitely check those out because you weren't a part of them. So it's like a different experience, I'm sure, being on that side of it. There's only been one show that I haven't been a part of, and that was the one where Ted and Matt talked about electric drum kits.
Yeah, it was like a gear stock, right?
Yeah. That was a few months back. That's the only time that I've not been actually a part of a show other than editing the show. So that was kind of interesting because then at least I got to come into it with like, I haven't already heard this conversation and I haven't been a part of this. But yeah,
I hope it's how they feel right now.
I hope, you guys. Hopefully they enjoyed these episodes. Hopefully everybody enjoys these episodes because I know they're a little bit different. Yeah. You know, I know Matt and Ted aren't here and people are probably accustomed to, for most of this series, it's been me and Matt and Ted on all these shows. But believe it or not, folks, we're not as far ahead with the shows as we used to be. We're now down to like literally as of recording this episode, I've got a show for this weekend and a show for next weekend. And we had no other show recording scheduled between now and 2 weeks from, well, actually a week from this Tuesday when we're doing a show. We've got a guest coming on, which I'm pretty excited about. I don't know if I want to talk about who it's going to be in case
don't spoil
things don't pan out, but I'm pretty sure things are locked in here. But yeah, so we have no other recording schedule. So I'm like, Keisha, what are you doing? Cause I need to get something scheduled so I'm not scrambling to edit these. So we used to be 6 to 8 weeks ahead on the shows. Like there was a point around Thanksgiving of last year where we were so far ahead that the next show that we needed to record was the holiday episode. And Ted was like, I don't want to be filming a Christmas episode before Thanksgiving. So we took a little bit of a hiatus. We did that episode a little bit closer to Christmas time, and then we were ahead again a bit. And then as the summer kind of creeped along and COVID, it started to, the vaccine came out, we could start.
Lax. We could all have a little bit of a vacation. It's understood.
Yes.
And now it's getting cold. All of our behinds are coming back indoors.
Yes. Well, I don't know. Hopefully it's getting cold. Right now, it's like, we were talking about this before the show. It was almost 90 degrees here today, and it's the middle of October.
I know. And I want to almost put money down that it's going to like either downpour ice or snow on Halloween just to stick it to us here in New England.
I mean, I don't think I'd take those odds because it's happened before. I mean, there's always a chance. So I don't know. I don't think I'd take that bet, but let's just say there's a possibility. And if it does snow, because this is another thing Jack and I talked about toward the end of the winter, because in Australia, they don't have snow. So I was talking about snow at one point with Jack, and I realized it's kind of difficult to explain what snow is to somebody who's never experienced snow. And there wasn't really much snow on the ground. There wasn't even really snow falling at that point. So it wasn't like I could demonstrate very well what snow was. And even then, like the snow that I did have, it was kind of hard to explain because then I'm talking about snowballs, and he's like, does it hurt if you get hit with a snowball? And I'm like, well, no, not usually.
Well, it doesn't really hurt, but then like someone could make it hurt. It's really hard to describe.
Yes. So let me go make one and throw it at the fence, and you can see that it shatters, but it's, you gotta like melt it. Yeah, it's just really weird to explain snow to somebody who's never experienced it. So if we get snow on Halloween, I will have to try
Merry and get Halloween, everybody. We'll just say Merry Halloween.
Merry Halloween. Let's just wrap all of the end of the year holidays into that one day, because basically that's like you go to the store, they're playing Christmas music already, and they've got all the Christmas decorations out.
That is all get out there. It's out there. Like Christmas stuff is out there. I'm not even talking about going to Christmas tree shop and seeing Christmas. Like I saw it, and I know I'm not mentally prepared to hear that first holiday jingle. Like I know that like at the first instance of when I hear it, I will not feel joyful or triumphant. I will not feel like
oh no, I think Keisha just froze. I don't know if we lost her. I know one point recently we were doing a show and Keisha had some internet problems, so hopefully she'll come back, but let's just say Keisha is not feeling the holiday spirit at this point in the year, and I understand it entirely because I have gone into a few... What was that? Okay, so
we're back.
We're back. Yeah, there was a strange technical issue that just happened, and so as far as I was aware, Keisha had frozen. Apparently, it was me that froze, so I was mid like trying to cover the conversation when all of a sudden my internet dropped and the recording stopped. So, where we were at, I believe, was Keisha was talking about Christmas music in stores already, and I was about to like fill the gap of time while I waited for her to come back before I realized it was me that was having the problem. And I was gonna say that I've been into a few stores already where they've already got all of the Christmas. They've had the Christmas decorations out since like early September.
Ew.
Yes.
Ew.
Yes.
Ew.
Yeah.
That's a problem. If Christmas is out the same week as pumpkin spice, we got issues. Okay. We got issues, guys.
Pumpkin spiced eggnog, which I'm pretty sure is a thing.
Well, it's like, I'm sure. No, I believe you. You can say pumpkin spice anything. I'm going to believe it because it exists. Like, it exists. I'm sure. I'm sure there's a pumpkin spice macaroni and cheese. I'm sure there's a pumpkin spice. I don't know.
There's pumpkin spice scented toilet paper, apparently.
Wait. Yes. Oh my gosh. There's so much. There's so much I can. There's so much I don't want to talk about. But like, I don't want to. There's so much concerning, but not necessarily concerning, but I have thoughts, which is like, is it that bad where you need scented toilet paper? Or like, maybe you just need to accept that this is a bodily function. Like, I'm so confused.
I don't know how people aren't
You can put the candle in your bathroom,
by the fact
sure.
that the toilet paper is scented. Like,
why?
That seems like that's not a thing you'd want to have happen.
It's not going to help. Like, unless there's so much incense permeating from this toilet paper roll to help your bathroom out from whatever situation you got to deal with. But I'm still I don't get that. Like,
yeah, no, I don't know. Let's just put it this way. My mom is like pumpkin spice everything, and she draws the line at the pumpkin spice scented toilet paper. Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Yes. It's gotten out of hand. It's gotten so out of hand. And it's like I'm more of like fall. I'm like an apple person. You know what I mean? Like, I'll like I'm sure. I mean, I've seen places sell like hot apple cider and all that stuff. I think that you're being robbed. Just get a gallon of it. Especially if you have a local like farmer or a local like place where you can pick apples. They probably sell some, and you should probably get it from them first and heat it up yourself. But I'm more of an apple person when it comes to fall, and like pumpkin spice, pumpkin stuff, squash stuff is more like winter, like we in the thick of it. You know, that's when I want those particular spices, that combination of spices. I don't want it in August. I definitely don't want it in September. Next to Christmas stuff, so they can peddle me all the cinnamon scented stuff too. No, like.
The cinnamon scented pine cones.
The pine cones that like intoxicating. They're usually like the first thing that you smell when you walk in to like any like purveyor, because they want to, you know, they want to like get you into the sense that it's the season for this. And you're like, sir, it is 80 degrees outside today. I'm not ready for that right now.
In New England, we should specify, because 80 degrees in New England is different than 80 degrees on like the West Coast or down south in the winter, where it's just like that all year long. Up here, we don't expect that when it's this time of year. This is
why it is kind of like we are in a great fortunate place to get like seasons and stuff like that. But lately it's been a little warm, and I understand that, you know, for marketing purposes, you want to stay on schedule, but I need somebody in the room to say, we should wait a little bit. You know, we'll still make money. Ain't nobody gonna buy this yet. I probably saw the pumpkin spice end cap weeks before it was even touched.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So, and then as far as Christmas music goes, if you can't play Thriller at least once to recognize that Halloween is first, we got problems, okay? Like, we have some problems. I need you to at least get that out of the way and stop worrying about Kris Kringle at the end of the year. Like,
yeah, it's all about. I feel like we're gonna tangent into a different podcast entirely. Yes. But that happens from time to time on this show. But it's all about marketing. It's all about selling stuff. It's all about getting people to buy Christmas presents and stuff. That's what the whole push is this time of year, especially right now, where they're like, get your presents early because supply chain issues and shipping issues.
And it's like, I agree that there are concerns, but like, we should not be creating this panic again. All right. That should
Who's
not be
buying Christmas trees now?
Like, I don't even know if I want one this year. I don't know.
Wait until closer to Christmas and see if you still feel that way. It is
like,
still
I'm used to paying
October.
a certain amount for this tree.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, if you do real tree, I suppose that's... I have a... Oh, God, I'm getting a your connection is unstable notice.
You know what, internet...
I'm like, I'm going to disconnect my Ethernet because apparently that was causing a problem. And B, I'm thinking we may want to get into the song of the week and wrap this thing before we drop again. And we have
before it cancels us because maybe the internet isn't liking the fact that we've talked about TikTok and messing with Christmas. Okay, we get it.
Maybe Comcast is tapping in. All right. Well, on that note, if you want, I'll go first, and I'll do the usual notes that we do here. So if you're new to the show, or if you just need a reminder, we have a Spotify Song of the Week playlist. We put our picks each week into that playlist. We link the playlist in the description of every episode. And if you're watching the video version, we also have a Spotify scan code that we'll put on screen. All you have to do is open Spotify on your phone or mobile device, tap the little camera icon in the search bar, and hold your device up to the screen. It'll scan the code and take you right to the playlist. And we will put this week's picks in there. And you can also check out all of our previous picks, which are getting more and more eclectic every week. And to add to that, I had kind of hinted a little bit on my Song of the Week pick when we were talking earlier about my recent Spotify, my new playlist that I have going on. I have a playlist now called Cool Guitar Tracks, and it's all stuff that I'm like, this would be cool stuff to learn, or I feel like it's inspirational and makes me want to kind of like learn some of the techniques and stuff that I hear in these songs. So this week, my pick is Chronos, which is again by Foi, F-O-I, with Ichika Mo, I-C-H-I-K-A-M-O. And it was a really hard choice on this one because, as I mentioned, Foi has some really, really amazing songs. There's a lot of good stuff. I highly recommend that you go listen to all of it, but this song in particular was really cool. All of Foi's stuff is instrumental. It's all guitar. And as I had mentioned before, I initially heard Pilgrim, which was another track of theirs, in one of Jacketto Picks, one of the posts that Jack put up on either Instagram or TikTok. And their guitarist, Sanjay Kumar, he's a Jacketto artist. I don't know much about Foi, so I went and looked, like there's usually a little bio on Spotify, so I looked at that to kind of find out a little bit more about this group. And Foi is actually Sanjay's brainchild, and the music, as they describe it on Spotify, the music of Foi has always been driving and anthemic, bringing in all of Sanjay's influences such as punk, metal, progressive, shred, etc. to create a unique sound. And that pretty much sums up the sound of any of their tracks. But this song in particular, for some reason, I felt like it had a bit of a video game vibe to it. It kind of almost gave me a bit of a Secret of Mana feels a little bit. It opens with some piano, and then it goes into heavy distorted guitar. And then there's this cool breakdown around the 2-minute and 30-second mark that's like, it's clean guitar, and it's got a very jazzy progressive feel to it, and then it goes back into that distorted guitar, and it's just a really awesome song. To me, it has a lot of the same kind of sound like Dave Martone, who's another guitarist that I've talked about a lot on this show. Yes. If you've been listening to this show for a while, you probably heard me talk about Dave Martone. And it also kind of reminds me a bit of Injected, which was a very short-lived band in the early 2000s that I really loved. Has a bit of a Dream Theater sound, and also kind of some Avenged Sevenfold kind of vibes there. And it's probably gonna, what I'm about to say next might seem a little sacrilege to some of our listeners and viewers, but I get really bored with shred guitar. That's nothing but somebody just shredding away, playing fast for like 3-4 minutes on end. When I did the Berklee summer guitar sessions when I was in high school, it was a week-long guitar camp at the Berklee College of Music in Boston. And you had to audition, and then you were broken off into different groups with different instructors throughout the week based off of your playing abilities. And so that's where I discovered Dave Martone, because he was the instructor for the ensemble that I was placed in. And I also was placed in another group with a guitar player by the name of Joe Stump, who Joe is an incredible guitar player, but I really struggled to get through his particular sessions because he's one of those guitar players that's just like shred for half an hour, however long these sessions were all week long. And I get bored with that. And I think that's one of the reasons why I gravitate more towards stuff like Dave Martone, Steve Vai, Joe Satriani. And with Foy having a lot of that similar sound, it's not just shredding. There's a lot of melody and musicality to it as well, which keeps my interest. So while there is shredding and a lot of fast playing, it's not all about like how fast can I play and how many notes can I get into this song. And I think some of that maybe has to do with the fact that there aren't vocals with any of those artists. It's largely instrumental stuff. And so the guitar kind of plays the part of the vocals. And so the guitar has more of a vocal kind of feel to it, as opposed to a like traditional band with a singer where the guitar solo is just the guitar solo. It's like 20 or 30 seconds at some point during the song. The entire song is a guitar solo, so it's treated very differently, I feel. But I know there are people out there that are maybe like going to roast me for that because, well, you can play like fast and it's technical. It's like, yeah, but that to me is boring, just playing fast for the entirety of a song. There's more to it than that. And I lose interest very quickly if there's not, you know, more musicality going on there. So Foy, I think, really kind of fits the bill in that regard.
Okay.
And I really have been enjoying listening to a lot of their stuff. I definitely recommend checking them out. If you don't know where to start with the song that I'm picking for this week, Kronos, and then move your way through some of the others. Like I said, The Pilgrim is really awesome. That's where I initially started listening to Foy, and then I got to Kronos, and I'm like, that one I've had kind of on repeat a lot because it's a really cool song. So give it a listen and let me know what you think. I'd love to know, you know, if you're listening, you're digging that stuff too. I'd love to know if you discovered Foy by my suggestion here. And on that note, I'm going to kick it over to Keisha. Hopefully I bought you enough time to think about it. Because I didn't ask you if you had a pick ready.
Well, no, it's fine. Because I actually just thought about, you know, for allowing social media to make suggestions for our pick of the week.
Sure.
The last thing that I remember, like, you know, clicking on because it piqued my interest and I was intrigued was on YouTube. And it was because there was a show on, oh my gosh, like a decade ago called The Sing Off. And it was an a cappella singing competition. So I think this is like early on, like this is probably like while The Voice season 1 was happening or something like that. But it was just an a cappella. It was just an a cappella groups competition show, and I think like Nick Lachey was the host. This is before Love is Blind, folks. And there was this one group called the Dartmouth Airs, and they did a Queen, like they did this like whole Queen themed like ensemble, like oh my gosh, what am I trying to say? They kind of did this whole, begins with, they did a couple of their hits, all right? It was like they were grouped
Bohemian
together.
Rhapsody?
They did Bohemian Rhapsody. They did one more, but what they ended with was Somebody to Love. And, you know, it's so hard to do any Queen arrangement. They are just so complex. There's so many layers. There's so many levels to the genius of what that band was able to accomplish. And then to pair that with like the vocals of Freddie Mercury, I think is something that it's timeless to me.
Yeah.
However, what this group was able to do was so amazing. And to end it with Somebody to Love, in when we're talking about like creativity and in the hands of someone else, what they can do. Oh my gosh, it's so worth doing. Like it's so worth experiencing what they were able to arrange. using Queen as like their foundation and paying an homage to them. I think it's very hard to do, but I think they were able to kind of do it very well. And that's saying a lot. So for me, I have to say like my pick of the week would be like Somebody to Love by Queen. I think that Freddie Mercury is just one of those voices to me. He's like, if people were to ask me who I believe is like one of the greatest vocalists, he's always like there.
Sure. For sure. Yeah, I mean, if you've never listened to on YouTube, there are a number of videos that are the isolated vocal tracks from a number of different Queen songs, and I haven't looked in a while, but I would assume Bohemian Rhapsody was one of them. And as impressive as those songs are as a whole, if you listen to just the isolated vocals, that's really something else.
It's crazy.
I mean, there's a lot of groups out there actually that if you go look on YouTube, there are people who have done isolated vocals of different songs by different groups. And there are a lot of them that I'm sure if you listen to them, it's very different to listen to just the vocals only. Like, I think, what did I find? I think it was it Say Hello to Heaven by Temple of the Dog, and somebody had isolated the vocals on that, and Chris Cornell's vocals.
Wow.
Like, it gave me chills to listen to that.
Wow.
Then there's one that's a little bit humorous, because I had a coworker at a previous job who showed me this video years ago, and it's the isolated David Lee Roth vocals from Running with the Devil.
Oh, really?
Which is really funny without the rest of the music. And you can hear like the whistle, because at one point there's a penny whistle in the song, and you can hear that, which I never really noticed until I listened to the isolated vocals track and it had that, and I'm like, was that a penny whistle? Like, oh, yes, it was. So, I mean, there's also the other end of the spectrum of songs that sound kind of humorous when you just hear the vocals without the rest of it. But the Queen stuff, I would agree. Like that, just to listen to Freddie Mercury's vocals alone without the rest of the music, pretty much any song that you can find out there that the vocal's been isolated, it would give me goosebumps to listen to it, because it's just...
Yeah,
you've got
the performance is so hard. Like, it's so difficult to be able to accomplish what they did, and it's like, oh man, yeah, it's.
And there's so many layers there too that you don't necessarily pay attention to when there's all this other stuff going on in the song. You know it's there, but you're not really. And again, we've talked about this on some other episodes, and I think Matt and Ted were kind of the same way. That like, I don't think any of the three of us were really people who focused on the vocals first. It was always some other aspect. Like Ted tends to focus on the drums.
Yeah, drums.
Matt and I think more on the guitar. Like we hear the guitar, and so
I'm a vocal person, so a little context,
there you
guys.
Go.
Singing was kind of my jam. So
there you go. So we got a nice balance between all of us. Everybody's listening to a different aspect of the music when we hear a song. So, you know, to remove the rest of the instruments and just listen to the vocals and realize what all is going on there, especially in the Queen stuff, where you've got multiple layers on a lot of those songs of Freddie Mercury singing all these different parts and layering that and
layers,
really
harmonies. He was like, this is children OG auto-tune, okay? Like, this is on a different level of, this is real like talent and skill that was permeating out of this person. It's so crazy. Like, seriously, greatest vocalist.
For sure. Awesome. Well, that is an incredible choice. I am a huge fan of that song. So we will be adding both of those songs to our Song of the Week playlist for this week. And I also just realized as I was putting our picks into our spreadsheet that we use to keep track of the shows, I'm pretty sure this episode is going to end up dropping the day before Halloween. So, we didn't do a Halloween special this year. It didn't really pan out, but I do want to give a shout out to Ned because Ned did give us a suggestion for a show, and I just didn't have the time. Ned wanted us to talk about the music of Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh my gosh!
And as you know, and as anybody who's listening or watching who's been following this show for a while knows, I haven't watched a lot of movies. I have not seen Rocky Horror Picture Show in its entirety, and I've not been able to find time to watch it because my weekends have been crazy and my weeknights have been crazy, and Keisha was, before we got started earlier, listening to my story about how I had some critter in my walls again. And so like after work yesterday, I was dealing with that. And yeah, so it's always something. And I haven't had time to watch it. Ted and Matt both hadn't seen it in a number of years and they wanted to be able to review it. And it just didn't pan out that we were able to watch it and do that. So
you guys should all have like, you could probably do a little web exclusive of like having all of you kind of like video yourself watching it and then just like run clips of like how you feel.
Oh boy.
Like just stick your phone, put it like record yourself throughout like watching it and being like, what in the world? And then use that as an episode.
I kind of did that a little bit with, we had a voicemail from Tim. Tim's another listener who's been following the show since the beginning.
Oh, hi Tim.
And he left a message a while back and wanted me to do a reaction video of watching American Pie because I had never seen it, and we had talked about how I've heard this one time at band camp jokes.
You've never been able to connect it until you watched it.
I just knew that it was part of that movie, but I'd never seen it. So I don't know if I ever explained this after I did the reaction video that I posted. So Matt sent me, because I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna have time to watch it. So Matt was like, here's a clip, watch this and just use this as your reaction. And what I didn't know at the time is that what Matt sent me wasn't actually like the root of that joke, because afterwards he was like, well, I was trying to keep it a little bit PG. There's also this other scene. So then like after we did a show, he was like, this is probably the one that he was hoping that you were going to watch and react to. And yeah, there definitely would have been a much different reaction had I watched that scene. So just in case I never explained that, and Tim, if you're still watching or listening at this point, just know that I was informed after that there was another scene that was probably the one that you intended for me to react to, and I did see that. Matt showed it to me after and I reacted, but it was after I had already posted the video. So my apologies if that's what he was looking for, but again, it was just, I didn't have time to watch it. So Matt was just like, here's a clip. So finding time to watch Rocky Horror Picture Show, it just didn't pan out, but I do want to shout out to Ned because we were trying to figure out something to do for Halloween episode. We didn't want to rehash what we had already done last year. And I was like, well, how many different things can we talk about when it comes to Halloween music that doesn't kind of like review some of what we already talked about previously? And Ned was like, a Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Like, what was the last song I listened to at a drunk Halloween party? I have no idea. Like,
yeah.
Don't tell me you can remember.
Yeah, I don't know. There's... Yeah, that topic is a little bit more limited, I think. So I was all over the Rocky Horror thing. I was like, that'd be great. I'd love to see it, but unfortunately, I just couldn't find the time to be able to watch it, and Matt and Ted couldn't find the time, and we had very limited time that the three of us had to be able to watch it and do that to be able to put the episode out in time for Halloween. So not going to happen, at least for this year, but Ned, we appreciate the suggestion.
Thanks,
and if we're still doing this show by next year, then we will get on this earlier and try to do that for next year. But on that note, as a reminder, if you've got an idea for a topic for a future episode, or if you'd like to be on a show, or if you're an artist and you've got a new song out and you'd like us to listen to it and talk about it on the show, as you can see, we've kind of taken liberty of just like talking about some people's songs, because I mean, I don't think most of the artists we've talked about on the last few shows we've done together have really been well known per se. But if you are an artist,
about for sure.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I think more people need to be listening to these artists, which is why I'm talking about them. But definitely, if you are an artist and you've got a song that you want us to listen to and talk about on the show, we're happy to take suggestions. So reach out to us. And if you'd like to be on the show, certainly let us know, because we'd love to have you on. And there's a few ways you can get a hold of us to do that. You can leave us a voice message by going to our Anchor page at anchor.fm/distortedopinions. There's also a list, or a partial list, of the places the show is available in audio only format. We've got links to our social media platforms on there as well. We're also on YouTube, which the last few episodes, Matt has thrown out a challenge that if we can get 100 subscribers, Matt's going to go play the Home Depot jingle on his guitar at a Home Depot. And
in shorts.
Well, that's if we get to 150. If we get 150 subscribers, he'll do it in a pair of skin-tight shorts, a tank top, and a pair of his wife's Ugg boots.
Oh, I hope we hit this in the wintertime.
I feel like, oh my God, in the middle of a blizzard.
Yes.
So, yeah, if you would like to see Matt embarrass himself in public and on social media, speaking of social media and the other side of TikTok, be sure to go over to our YouTube channel and hit the subscribe button. Tell your friends and family to do the same. We have a long URL.
We're almost halfway there.
Yes, we're getting there. We still need more, though, so we need your help. I'm not going to put the URL up because it's long, but just go to YouTube and search for Distorted Opinions. You'll find our channel. Hit the subscribe button. You can also send us an email, distortedopinionsshow@gmail.com. We'll take comments on social media, pretty much anywhere that you want to get a hold of us. There's many ways to get a hold of us, so reach out if you've got ideas, if you want to be on a show, if you want us to listen to a song, if you want to just share your thoughts on anything you've listened to, which I always enjoy seeing the comments when we post. I've been real bad about posting the social media sneak peeks and like snippets from the shows, but the episode that just dropped recently, I had a ton of material on that one. That was the episode, Keisha, you and Matt and I did, where we talked about discovering music with SoundHound and Shazam. That was actually where Matt issued his challenge about the YouTube subscriber challenge that he would play the Home Depot theme. And so we had a whole bunch of clips there. We had lots of clips of Matt talking about it getting kicked out of Best Buy. And
I know.
Matt,
and how he likes the Home Depot jingle. And now that's like a thing that I can't get out of my, like, I always know now when it's playing.
Oh yeah, I laughed. I heard the commercial at least twice today between the radio and on TV, and I laughed every time because all I could think of was Matt like driving down the street, bopping along to the Home Depot jingle. But apparently he's not the only one. There's people on TikTok, there's people on Instagram, there's accounts dedicated to the Home Depot jingle. So apparently Matt is not the only one here. So if you happen to be one of those people who likes the Home Depot jingle, all the more reason that you should go hit subscribe on our channel so that we can see Matt go play the jingle at Home Depot. So on that note, thank you if you've stuck with us through this very interesting journey that we've had on this episode, because we've been kind of all over the place, and then the internet dropped out, and then
whatever, internet.
It's been weird. But thank you for tuning in. Happy Halloween. Have a safe Halloween. Hopefully you're doing something fun out there. And I believe last year we may have put together a Halloween playlist. So I'll dig that up if we did, and link that in the description as well, since we didn't do a Halloween episode per se, that you can go listen to that. Otherwise, I know we had our Halloween picks from last year in the playlist. So in the Song of the Week playlist. So if we got one, I'll link it. I got like 100 playlists here, so I'm not really sure offhand if we did. I'm gonna have to look and and get back to you all on that. But but thank you for tuning in this week, and we'll see you next week with an all new episode. See you then.